All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump in, make our first call because we are going to today. So exciting. We're going to have Skip Murphy in. Not in, on the line. This will be a resumption of my Monday morning talk with the Grok, at least for this morning with Chip. What's his name? Not Chip. It's Skip Murphy of Granite Grok. So we're going to yap a little bit for just a few minutes before I have a guest in studio. My guest in studio this Monday morning. His name is Michael Yakupovich, and he is running for state senate here in the great state of New Hampshire, District 16. So lots of good stuff coming our way here. So let's see. We've got Skip. Yes, we do. So we're going to get rocking again to see all the great stuff that Granite Grok publishes. They are doing tons of stuff these days, and I'm not going to let Mr. Skip Murphy talk about it all because it'll eat up too much time of my show. It's my show, right, Mr. Skip? Good morning.
Good morning, and no, I won't eat up your entire show. I will leave a little sliver left over for you.
Okay, all right. Can you talk a little louder or do something different? We're pumping it up, but let's keep it. There we go. I think.
Better?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me. I'm very excited. It's been a little bit, but
Yes.
not too much of a little bit. And so, Skip, oh my heavens, let's get going with. And this was a little bit predetermined. We'll see if I get to all this stuff because, as you know, it's my show and I can do what I want to. So, Skip, let's talk the SCOTUS, some of the SCOTUS decisions of late, right?
Yes.
And these are related directly or indirectly to our religious freedoms. Okay? Are you ready? I'm just going to begin with I already talked about this guy. I think he's in Washington State, is he not? The football coach?
Correct.
Is
Yes.
that right? So the football coach that, well, I'll let you summarize. You're probably better at that. Go for it, Mr. Skip.
Okay. There was a high school football coach out in Washington State that had the practice after every game would go out to the center of the field, bow his head, silently pray, and then leave. And after a while, some of the players started to go out with him, and they would take a knee, and they would pray silently as well. And then it turned out that a lot more people, including the opposing team and people out of the stands, were there. And the school said cut it out because of separation of church and state, a phrase that never appears in the Constitution. Well, long story short, he refused to stop praying, and they fired him. So he sued. And the decision out of the Supreme Court over the last couple of weeks was that the school took too much liberty with that idea of separation of church and state and said, you interfered with a constitutional right. You have just lost. And he's looking to get his job back, from what I understand, and I'm betting that there's going to be a settlement. The Supreme Court told the other courts, all right, here's our decision. He was wronged. Now make it right.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. That may take a little while, but the big deal is that you cannot, government cannot deprive somebody of their religious rights. There is that clause in the First Amendment that says government shall not establish its own religion. I'm paraphrasing here.
Yep.
Or interfere with that. But that doesn't mean that you can stop others from professing their faith one way or the other on government property. And that's what it was. It was just an upholding of a constitutional right.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this guy sounds like such a nice guy. He doesn't hold any bad feelings against what happened. He is rocking and ready. I don't know where that's at. It's hard to keep track of everything these days, right? But he's ready to go back. But I had read that the school or district has not decided whether they're going to ask him to come back. That's the last I saw. So it's going to be interesting, and we'll have to follow up on that. But this is a big win, right, for
It is a
religious
very
freedom. Absolutely.
it is a very big win, and that was followed on by the Maine school voucher case that made it to the Supreme Court. And just like an earlier decision that SCOTUS made, that you cannot deny a religiously associated school grant that would help them uh, better their playground equipment. You have to treat them like any other school. And that didn't go over very well with the left. Again, all screaming separation of church and state, and it's more of a case, stop discriminating against those institutions that are religious in nature. And Maine had the big deal that they weren't going to give vouchers to parents to have their kids go to religious schools. A Catholic school, a Baptist school, a non-denominational school, or
Yeah.
what have you. But the deal was, where would they get the education, especially out in the rural areas of Maine? And once again, the decision was, this is to provide not public education, but the way that I look at it, if the state is going to provide education to a child, it shouldn't matter where the child goes.
That's right.
I've always held that the money should follow the child, knowing that the parents will choose the best school for their child. And once again, this is a case of discriminating against religious schools simply because they are religious and not secular. And SCOTUS said, you can't do that. So once again, it's a constitutional value. And I've said that in both cases here because too often the left has used SCOTUS as a supra-legislative body to get their own agenda done. They are fuming, along with the other decisions over the last 2 weeks, especially the EPA and the Second Amendment, by saying, here's what you did, here's what the Constitution says, here's what the law says. It doesn't matter what we think. This is how we're deciding the case. Now, the left doesn't believe it because that's what the left does. That's how they've used the court. I'm looking at this going, hey, they're finally getting down to brass tacks and doing what they're supposed to do, which is look at the Constitution and then go outward to whatever the case is, instead of the left, in the case of abortion, said, here's what we want to end up with. How do we monkey around with the Constitution to make it fit? A completely 180-degree separation of outlook.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what they do. This is the other thing that gets my goat, is they're all happy with the as we would be too, with the Supreme Court when the decisions go your way. And it's not even just the progressive leftist Marxists that go this way, but on the other side, conservatives. So when these justices, in my opinion, get labeled as Republicans, by the way, which they do that. The left does this. I mean, mainstream media does this. They label them as Republicans or conservatives even. But that is incorrect. That is BS. Because, in fact, they are not. They are, okay, the word dropped out of my brain, but they are, when they look at the Constitution, the text, what do you call that? When they are literally,
Originalists.
Originalists. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that is, but doesn't that just tick you off? Because that's what happens. And so, and that's, they call them Republicans. It's like, what?
Well, it's like in anything else, Liz. Me being on the right, I am labeled automatically as an extremist.
Yes.
Anybody that doesn't hold a progressive or Democrat view
Yep.
is automatically labeled as a threat by them.
Yep.
It happened during the Tea Party, where everybody became a Tea Partier. And I'm looking at some of the people they called Tea Partiers going, yeah, not so much, but it was an epithet that they used. Now lately it's been, you must be a free stater, and you hate government. I mean, they have to denigrate, they have to otherize,
Yep.
those that do not share their viewpoint.
Yeah.
They
It's like
look at it
it's like
as
a
an
child.
entity that
It's like
It
children do. They take that extreme, right? I mean, that's what. Oh, then you know, that extreme approach because they have nothing else, and it's really friggin' annoying. Anyway, okay, all right. So there we go with our SCOTUS decisions. That is
yes,
really good. Now I got one for you.
sure.
Okay, I know you're up on this. Manchester schools are saying that parents have no duty to inform you. Oh, excuse me, back up. Oh my God, Liz, come on. The Manchester schools say, we have no duty to inform you of your students' as in transgender, activity. This is a big thing going on in the state of New Hampshire right now, right?
It is. And for full disclosure, I am suing the Guilford School Board over the exact same Policy JBAB, put out by the New Hampshire School Board Association, which I dryly note that they have pulled the JBAB from their approved library of policies, and they said in their 2022 spring update to school districts, saying, well, because of litigation, both here in New Hampshire as well as across the nation, we're throwing you under the bus and you have to talk just with your personal lawyers about this.
Yeah.
So, and it all comes down to, this part's really important. New Hampshire is a Dillon's Rule state, which means that subdivisions of the state, of which school boards, towns, cities, water districts, whatever, are subdivisions of the state, can only do those things that the state legislature has passed a bill authorizing or enabling them to do things. So in this policy JBAB, they gave themselves the power to lie to parents about the transgender status of their children. There is no legislation, there is no law that says this is what you can do. We yammer a lot about local control here in New Hampshire, but there really is no local control. Towns and school boards are completely locked into the frameworks of which the state has given them. No more, and you can't go past these boundaries. But Manchester has doubled down.
Yeah.
They had a clause in there that said, including parents, where they singled out parents saying, we're not going to tell you. Well, they took that out saying, well, now we're not denigrating parents. No, you just lumped them in. You just canceled them and made them disappear because it still says you're not going to tell anybody else.
Yeah.
And the nuance is, and still parents, you're not going to know about it. I mean, they just made life worse for themselves. And this is really government, because school boards are government, telling parents you don't matter and getting snide and saying your children are ours.
Yes.
If there is a way to be able to make it clear to parents that you don't have the responsibility for raising your children, this is it.
That's it.
And
That's
my principal of my legal son, my grandson, who we legally adopted, literally at a school board meeting would not tell me the transgender status of my legal son.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, relative to Manchester, so there's a lawsuit there as well, at least one, I'm sure. And so
there's one more. There's a couple more coming up. They're bubbling up.
And Mayor is Craig, Mayor Craig, is that correct? Is she the mayor? So she chairs. Is that right, or it's a different one? The chair of the school board. That maybe that's not the mayor. Anyway, that can't be. Declined request for comment on the policy. She would not answer questions about whether she supports the policy, and also, and this is sorry about this, New Hampshire Journal. None of the members of the board's policy committee, Leslie Want, Nicole Leapley, Peter Perrick, Sean Parr, or Jason Bonilla would discuss the matter either.
Yeah, they won't.
How about that?
Because they know that the public is turning against them.
Yeah.
They understand that they've been caught, like a lot of other school boards all over the nation that are knee-deep in costs. I mean, my lawsuit has cost the district, I put in a right to know to find out, they've spent over $14,000 trying to get me canceled.
Wow. you're really an important guy. I mean, then, right? I mean, for
No, I'm persistent, and I
That's
told
right.
I
That's
told
right.
them I
Yes.
would sell my
Mhm.
house and bankrupt myself before I allow them to get away doing to me as a parent
Mhm.
what they're trying to do to others. This is undefensible.
Yeah. It absolutely is. It really is.
Yeah,
And I did have it right. Mayor Joyce Craig, okay,
yep.
declined to comment about this. I believe she is on the Manchester School Board. I didn't realize that. So,
Yes, she is.
yes,
There's been
yes.
there's been talk about changing it, but the mayor position
I
still
actually
is
find that
on the school
shocking,
board.
by the way. I didn't. That's why I was going. What? Maybe I've got my facts wrong. But so she will not comment about this, and people need to, to hunt her down. Oops, sorry, I didn't say that. And
Politically hunt her down.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying. And so,
Yeah.
okay, that but took me off the. No, we'll see how long I'm on after that one. But and Scott. Okay, last one. We got
Well,
very
let
little
me.
time left. Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Well, I want. Well, hold on. I am
Oh,
going to go back to this. They're saying, do school districts have a legally enforceable duty to inform parents when a student uses a name or gender pronoun
mm-hmm.
different from that assigned at birth? No, what they've done is they flipped the argument because there is no law that says they have to tell parents. What they're trying to get away from is saying we shouldn't have this power to lie to you in the first place, and that's the issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, guess what? We don't get to talk about the other topic, but you know what? You and Mr. Steve McDonald will be back on with me at the end of the month, and
Yes.
we can continue this discussion. Mr. Skip Murphy of Granite Grok.
I would love to.
You are going to drive on, oh, what, $6 gallon gas down to Nashua for me. And I'm so grateful for, as long as you can do it. So, hey, until then,
We always have fun.
until then, Skip, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
have a great day.
Grok TV.